political violence is never okay. Never. It is never justified either. I am a victim of political violence. Last October, a MAGA supporter in my city didn't like the tent that my friends and I set up in an area that a MAGA tent had been all summer. And they were no longer allowed to set up there because they didn't pay the bill. So we came in and we got volunteer funds from the local Dems and set up a tent for the day to hand out signs. We weren't selling anything. We were giving away signs for people. And this man showed up, was not happy that we were not the MAGA tent, and spewed hate at us and said that he can't wait for Tangerine Man to win so that people like us are exterminated. Those are his words that he said to us. And we said that this is harassment. We're calling the police on you. He got in his vehicle. And at this time, I had just transitioned from a hard collar of having had neck surgery at the end of August. And so I was in a soft collar. And this is my first outing since being in the soft collar. That man backed up his car and positioned it with the front end facing our tent. And then he proceeded to gun it directly at me and my friends. I was in the middle, and I had two friends on either side of me. They were able to run off to the side. All I could do was shuffle backwards because I couldn't turn my neck. And in that moment, my life literally flashed before my eyes. And tomorrow is pre-trial for 3 counts of vehicular assault and 3 counts of a hate crime. And the reason for the hate crime is because he spewed anti-LGBTQ rhetoric at us before trying to unalive us. So I get that news from the prosecutor that tomorrow's the pretrial, really hoping that this guy takes the plea deal of pleading to the 3 felony charges of vehicular assault because the hate crime charge only adds a marginal amount of time. But if he doesn't take that, then we will be going to trial and I will have to relive that moment again. And then later on in the day, I see the news about Charlie Kirk. And Charlie Kirk is somebody who has spewed that hate that the man that tried to unalive me and my friends believed. Charlie Kirk is one of those people responsible for that hate that that man that tried to unalive me and my friends believes. Charlie Kirk also believes that gun deaths are an unfortunate side effect to having a Second Amendment. Charlie Kirk spewed hate, vitriol, and never once cared for a child that lost their lives to gun violence in this country. And at the same time that Charlie Kirk was unalived, so were children in a school in Colorado. And more people have talked about Charlie Kirk than about those children. And if Charlie Kirk were still alive to hear about that, he would also not care. He would have no empathy because he thought empathy was a made-up New Age concept. So I will not extend any empathy to him at all. What happened to him should not happen to anyone. It shouldn't have happened to Melissa Hortman and her husband and the other lawmaker and his wife. It should not have happened. But there is only one side that spews hate and advocates for violence. And it is not the Democrats. It is not the liberals, and it is not the leftists. It is MAGA and only MAGA. And when you put that kind of hate out into the world, you better be careful, because it can come back to you. So Charlie Kirk reaped what he sowed. And that is not to say that he deserved it, because nobody deserves that end. Nobody. But he should have been a lot more careful about what he was sowing, because he ended up reaping what he recklessly sowed. That is his legacy. And my empathy will not be given to him. It's to those children and all the other children and other people who have lost their lives to gun violence, and anybody else who has been a victim of political violence, named and unnamed. My empathy is with them. Understanding his legacy and what he stood for and what happened to him today, that's not cheering on what happened. It's recognizing the truth of what he stood for. And if you don't like that people are recognizing the truth for which he stood for, then maybe you should take a longer look at why you even supported him. Why would you support something like that if you don't like it being recognized? I made a comment that he reaped what he sowed, because he did. Because you have to be careful about what you put out into the world, because it can come back to you. Whether it's in this lifetime or in another lifetime, it can come back to you. And that's not to say that people deserve bad things to happen to them. It doesn't mean that somebody that had something bad happen to them reaped something bad upon others. It's not what it means. But it is very clear to me that there are Christians out there who seem to think that that's what that means. Because when I said he reaped what he sowed, they interpreted me saying that he deserved it. And he didn't. He did not deserve that. No matter how much horrible, hateful, vitriol bullshit he spewed, he still did not deserve that. Nobody does. There should be no place for political violence. And nobody should be advocating for it. And nobody should be calling the other side violent and a problem with America. That's my take. And maybe that's going to upset people. You can sit with that all you want. It's not mine to take on. Peace be with you.